Students, a very good morning to all of you. I welcome you to the class. Students, as you know, we have been doing analysis of the novel Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens, and we have analyzed how Oliver Twist, after running away from the workhouse and pompous beadle Mr. Bumble, Oliver finds himself lured into a den of thieves peopled by vivid and memorable characters such as the artful dodger, vicious burglar Bill Sykes, his dog Bullseye, and there is one prostitute in the novel, Nancy, all watched over by cunning master thief Fagin. So, students, now Fagin goes to see Bill Sykes at a pub to give him his share of profit. Sykes come to know that Nancy is in the pub as well, and he calls her. Nancy tells them about Oliver. At this very moment, Oliver, who had run away from the scene and who was kidnapped by this company of the thieves, has gotten a little lost on his way back to the bookstall. Nancy comes to him, and Nancy tells the people around them that Oliver has run away from his respectable parents to join a gang of thieves, so that when Oliver shouts, people don't believe him. Everyone turns against him, and so Nancy and Sykes drag him away. Sykes and Nancy take Oliver to a home where Artful Dodger is present. They all take Oliver's new belongings, and Fagin and Sykes fight over a £5 note that Mr. Brownlow gave Oliver to give it to the bookstall owner. Oliver begs them that please allow him to send the books and the note back to Mr. Brownlow so that he won't think that Oliver has stolen them. Oliver tries to run away from that place, but he is caught by Fagin and his boy. Fagin beats Oliver with a staff, but Nancy tries to save Oliver from this brutal beating. She implores them to leave him alone and says that the boy has already been hurt by them. And she says that she wishes that she had never helped them to kidnap Oliver. Students, on the other hand, Mr. Bumble goes to Mrs. Mann's orphanage to tell her that he is going London to deal with a legal matter. And while in London, Mr. Bumble sees an advertisement in the paper offering an award for information about Oliver Twist. Students, this advertisement has been given by Mr. Brownlow. Mr. Bumble goes immediately to meet Mr. Brownlow. Mr. Bumble tells the men everything he knows of Oliver, and Mr. Brownlow pays him. And students, what is happening with Oliver? Fagin gives Oliver a long lecture on loyalty, tells him the story of a boy like him who ended up hanged by betraying them. Oliver remains locked in a room for days. One evening, Dodger calls Oliver to clean his boots and tries to convince him to become a thief using twisted moral arguments. Oliver is not convinced, but he is very much afraid. Late one night, Fagin leaves the house and goes to see Sykes. Nancy is present there. Fagin and Sykes plan for a robbery together, and this robbery requires a small boy that can unlock a window for them. Fagin thinks that they can use Oliver for this purpose as he is very small. Sykes agrees and they finalize the plan for the robbery. Students, when Oliver gets up in the morning, Fagin tells that he is going to be taken to Bill Sykes that night. So Nancy tells Oliver that if he tries to escape from her as she takes him to Sykes, she will probably be killed. When they arrive at Sykes' place, Sykes makes Oliver watch as he loads his gun, then holds it to his head as he tells Oliver that he will shoot him if he says a word while they are out. All of them get ready to go, and Sykes leads Oliver out. Students, Sykes leads Oliver through a crowded street until they find an empty cart and manage to a ride. They spend some time at a pub, then take another ride, and by the night, they finally arrive at a dilapidated shack next to a water body. Here, Oliver meets another boy, Toby Crackit, who is waiting for them. Oliver sits on a stool by the fire and dozes off. When they wake up, they get everything they need together, including pistols. Crackit and Sykes each take one of Oliver's hands and lead them out. They arrive at a house and climb over the wall surrounding it. And now, students, Oliver finally realizes that the aim of the night is to rob a house and even possibly murder the occupants. Out of fear, students, Oliver collapses and begs them not to have to help them. Sykes almost shoots him, but Crackit stops him and drags Oliver to the house. They break into a very small window and put Oliver through, telling him to open the front door for them. Oliver plans to raise the alarm for those in the house, but suddenly a dog starts barking. So two men appear and shoot Oliver. Sykes drags him back and runs away with him. So students, today we analyzed some chapters about chapter number 14 to chapter number 21, and we came to know that how these chapters reiterates and reinforce the theme of powerlessness of children while also emphasizing the powerlessness of women. Oliver is kidnapped in broad daylight in the middle of the street, and the witness to the kidnap only encourage it because no one bothers to listen to or accept as truth what Oliver says. So his physical and legal weakness is only compounded by his inability to be heard. The misconception of Oliver that come from this inability are emphasized in this section. Mr. Bumble is horrified that Dick would want to leave a last letter to such an awful child. He goes to Mr. Brownlow and tells him what he believes to be Oliver's true character, but is anything. This inability to affect the judgment passed on him is reflected throughout the rest of the section. Oliver never again has agency being locked up, pushed around, and forced to participate in a robbery. Students, on the other hand, we see Nancy is powerless, even though it is she who originally overpowers Oliver in this section. We soon learn that she is not a pure villain when she defends Oliver against Fagin. She is successful momentarily in this task, but because Fagin is shocked that she would speak out against him than because she has any meaningful power over him. In Fagin, Dodger, and Charlie Bates' interaction with Oliver in this section, we see that things generally to be considered virtuous can be wrapped in wrong context. Similarly, Fagin gives Oliver a long lecture on loyalty, often deemed a virtue, but here it means loyalty to this thieving gang who keep him against his will. Dickens is not one sided on the issue of loyalty, however. Oliver is certainly not blamed by the text for feeling no loyalty towards Fagin or his boys, but Nancy's inability to betray them completely is presented as fairly virtuous. Loyalty is thus presented as something not inherently good or bad, something that can be moral, but something that can also at times be amoral, if not immoral. So, students, this much for today. We will continue with our analysis in our next classes. Thank you very much.